Hey, welcome to the Jeremiah Show. So good to be back on season 27 of The Voice. I say this at the beginning of every season that we cover on The Voice of music artists. It's one of my favorite times of year, one of my very favorite shows on television. And, um, we love music here. We love music artists and we love to get to know new music artists. And The Voice does all of that so well. And they're back. Season 27 of The Voice. Also back is Adam Levine. I love that. That's cool. I actually missed him a little bit. So I'm glad he's back. I've got two special guests on the show today from season 27 The Voice, NBC's The Voice. Lucia Flores-Wiseman and Trevin Dawson. They're both here. They're both on Team Adam. Okay, if you have not, for some reason, not watched The Voice, let me tell you a little bit about what it is. NBC's four-time Emmy Award-winning musical competition series, The Voice, is back on season 27, and you better get amped up. Country pop sensation Kelsea Ballerini joins an all-star coach lineup with reigning champion Michael Bublé, EGOT winner John Legend, and the return of an original The Voice icon, Adam Levine. With a competition hotter than ever, they'll find and mentor America's best undiscovered singers in this spectacular new season. It's NBC's The Voice season 27 is on Mondays, 8, 7 Central. You can go to NBC.com, The Voice, to see everything cast, artists, the coaches, and you can even actually go to the casting page. Go to NBCTheVoice.com casting page. And if you think you've got it, sign up. All right. Also on Instagram, you can find The Voice. Instagram, NBC The Voice. We've got music here by Lucia Flores-Wiseman. She's going to teach me how to roll my R's by the end of this interview, I'm sure. Lucia Flores-Wiseman is on again this season, which is, don't forget, 27. She is a talented Mexican American singer and songwriter. She lives up in Maple Valley, Washington, and apparently it's a little bit cool today, a little cold up there. Lucia earned a four-chair turn, and if you watch the show, that's very, very rare. Four-chair turn from the coaches after her rendition of Angela Aguilar's La Llorona. She chose Adam Levine to be her coach, which makes her on Team Adam. Today, Lucia performs regularly at local festivals and recently achieved a personal milestone by headlining her first show. Lucia has shared the stage with Brandi Carlile, one of my favorites, and she's performed at numerous live shows. Welcome, Lucia.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. So you're up in cold Seattle right now. Sounds kind of nice though. It's first day of spring. What did nobody tell? They didn't tell the weather in Seattle, I guess.
I know it's still a little chilly, still raining a lot. But when spring does come and the sun is out, it is the best. Like spring in Seattle is my favorite.
Yeah, because it's been like you've earned it, right? It's warm. You can change it. You put on shorts and t-shirts and get out and outside. I just made me think about that weather up there. I've been to Seattle many times, and I don't think I've ever been there when it's sunny. But I like that. I like that moodiness. You get to dress up a little bit and get out and walk the city. Um, but it's damp and wet. And then when spring happens, do you get allergies? I'm wondering.
A lot of people do. I don't,
That's
thankfully.
great.
But
Thankfully, because that would really mess up your
I know,
singing, wouldn't it?
I know. Everyone does though. Yeah, and when spring does come around, you still can't fully wear shorts. You kind of have to wait for summer for that. But
See, again, I don't know. I've never been there when it's sunny. I'm just thinking about what I do when the snow melts. I lived up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and Spokane, and I lived up there in the Pacific Northwest for a long time, so I know that sort of that weather. But you're on the coast, so it's a little bit different.
right.
Well, both of you guys, Trevin's back there. I haven't introduced him yet, but hey, Trevin.
Hey, hey.
That's how you doing? So both of you, we have a lot of things that I connected with both of you on. For Lucia, you grew up with both white and Hispanic heritage, and so did I. My mom's side is well, my grandfather's from Boston, but Spanish, and in Santa Barbara here, we're like fifth generations in Santa Barbara. So my great grandmother just spoke Spanish only, and no English really. So growing up with both white and Hispanic heritage, Lucia, which side of your heritage did you and your family did you identify with most growing up?
Yeah, I don't really like to say that I mean, it's a weird question because it feels like you have to like pick a side, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in a very white community, and all of my family from Mexico lives in Mexico. So my dad is the only one in the US, from his family.
Where in
But
Mexico?
from Morelia, Michoacan, it's like the heartland of Mexico.
Okay.
And so while I didn't have any of my family with us, like maybe on vacation or whatever, I still believe that my dad raised me to know that I'm always Mexican American. And so I never wanted to choose a side
Mm-hmm.
that I felt more connected with because it just felt wrong to do so. And that's why I love my name because it has both Flores, like my dad's side, and Wiseman, my mom's white side. And, it's like kind of German and stuff like that. And, um, I resonate with both and I just never want to pick a side.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to pick a side either. I guess what I was wondering was growing up in in Washington State, growing up in the United States, and you have one side of the family, as you said, all lives in Mexico, and then one here, have and your father's here. Was it was the culture a part of your daily or your identity or your daily life? Was it an interest that you had in the culture, or was it just around you as you grow up and as who you are?
I would say I, I had a really hard cultural identity crisis throughout all my life. Um,
How
because
so?
I didn't have my Mexican family around me and I was in a white community. So the only thing I had was like my dad listening to Mexican news, or he would only speak Spanish while on the phone with my family, and we only spoke English in the house. Um, because my brother was made fun of for speaking Spanish when he was younger and learning it from my.
Oh,
So my dad just decided to stop teaching us Spanish because he didn't know what life was going to look like for us.
hmm.
Um,
He
so
was concerned that you might be picked on like your brother was.
yeah, yeah. So we just
Terrible.
stopped. And so I would definitely say, like, growing up, I didn't have as much access to feeling Mexican, but my dad was always like, "No, Lucia, you're always Mexican. You're always blah, 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 blah." So I would say, like, in the sense of always listening to like Mexican songs and music, or sometimes having telenovelas here, or when my family did visit, they only speak Spanish. And so being with them, or when I would go to Mexico, like, I didn't speak Spanish and that was hard. But you know, it's more like I grew up more white, you know? Um, but as I've gotten older, I've been able to kind of discover that being Mexican American doesn't mean always this and you're always
Yeah.
speaking Spanish. and you're always, so I've come into my own identity and really have
Isn't that
appreciated.
great
Yeah, no, it's really
that
awesome.
you get that perspective as you grow, and you have that new perspective. You're able to cultivate that and be proud.
Yes.
Well, so I'm not asking you to choose sides here at all. It's the last thing I would ask.
Oh, yeah.
But what culture? Like, let's do a positive spin on that idea. What cultural strength do you draw from each side of your individual heritage? From the white side of your family, from the Mexican side of your family. Is there a cultural strength, something that you draw your power from?
Yeah. I would frame it more like my parents in a way. I From my dad, the beauty of having two parents from different countries means different ideas and different
Mm-hmm.
concepts of those cultures, and I think there's always people that kind of redefine culture. Like my dad's not always the stereotypical, and everyone is different, right, in each culture.
Right.
But I would say, from my dad, I really got to learn hard work ethic.
Mhm.
His whole family is so, I mean, my family, right? But his family in
Yeah.
Mexico is so hardworking, and he has taught me so much strength and has shown me that, we are very privileged to be in the US. There's so many opportunities. And in Mexico, like my dad in the US would always take overtime because he felt so guilty that if he didn't, he was like, look, all the money that I'm making in overtime could probably, feed a family for the whole week in Mexico. And so I really got to see like taking every opportunity that you can, even if it's small, because it's not always small for other people in other places of the world. So that he really taught me like strength and hard work. And I think it is also very like Mexican culture trait thing. And then I would say for my mom, I really got to see, in the US, us Americans have so much privilege and opportunity. And I got to really see her use the resources that we have, but using it for good. So, she grew up really poor, um, and with alcoholic parents, and they were hippies, and there was so much stuff going on. And her safe space was like going to the library at school and staying
Mm.
there late, and she was inspired to go to college. She wasn't going to, but having the opportunity in the US to go to college is really accessible. And so she went to college and she got her master's, and she is now a teacher. And she has so much love and compassion and empathy. And so I have really learned, that side of her, being able to combine both of those. My dad is very like logical. My mom is very like emotional, leading with the heart. My dad's leading with the mind. And so I don't know if I can necessarily say like, yes, this is white culture and this is Mexican
Yeah.
culture, but
But
that's the culture that my parents brought and put into me. Yeah.
that's really a great answer. And
Mhm.
what they taught you and what they gave you or what you took, what you picked up and your upbringing values and hard work and, um, empathy and all those great things that can only help, and only it does help, I'm sure, as you navigate this music business and this career. Really great answer. Thank you. Thank you for doing that for me.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Lucy, if you and I were put in a room with no distractions, no guitars like you've got on your wall there,
Right.
maybe one. Um, excuse me, and we had no language. We had no shared common language. and we could only communicate musically, what instrument would you choose to communicate your voice? And what song would you play that would best help me connect and understand who you are?
Mm, that is very hard. I've never thought of that. It's a very interesting hypothetical. I would say, well, what you're saying right now reminds me of a lot of my childhood when my grandparents would visit me from Mexico. They didn't speak English, I didn't speak Spanish, and I had to communicate with them with no language. Um, and that was through humor and through like, oh, blah, 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 blah," and like hugs and stuff like that. So I do I do resonate in the sense that we can communicate without language, and music is so important in feeling. Like you can play one chord and you can already feel something. I'd say if we were in a room with like one instrument, I don't play this instrument, but I would love a saxophone if I could play it, right?
Yeah.
But I think
Why
saxophone.
did you choose the saxophone? And by
Well,
the way, if you had flipped this on me, that would have been my answer too. So you
oh,
stole my answer.
really? I love that. Well, the saxophone emulates the human voice, right?
Mhm.
And you can put your vibrato in it and the different tones. And I think it's one of the most beautiful instruments. And I love jazz as well. Um, but as far as a song, wait, but the song needs to show what?
Well, kind of tell me who you are. Like, what is there a song that you sing, you go, you identify with? This represents me. This artist knew how I felt at that time or this time.
I wish that this song was already out. It's an original that I have, and it's called "Love Me, Hate Me." It's not out, but it would be awesome to have some saxophone on it. Um, I would say probably that song. I wish I could play it for you, but the whole song is kind of about one moment you love yourself, and then the next you also like hate yourself, and just kind of shows the duality of being a human, right? Like
Yeah.
so often do we dislike ourselves and also love I've been really battling between the ego and the soul. The
Mm.
ego is like the human Lucia that sees my flaws and thinks I'm not perfect and judgmental of myself and critical and all that stuff. And the soul part of Lucia is like, no, you are amazing, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you're everything's gonna work out, nothing can go wrong. And I feel like that song, it goes from major to minor and lots of points. And it's like a cry, like cry in the singing. I feel like the saxophone would give such a beautiful demonstration of that. And I just think as humans, like we're just so complex, and that's what I would show. So, hopefully one day you can hear that song.
I'm gonna look forward to it, and I think I know what you're saying, and I think we'd connect. I think I would understand you from both of those. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the sax could add that almost like a violin string where it almost makes you want to cry because it gets you right in the chest, right? It's so those two, the sax and a violin, I think, and a piano, but they
Yeah,
can
no,
really reach you, they can put those lyrics that you're hearing in here in your heart, in your chest,
and
in
it's
your
funny
soul.
that because the song has piano and strings in it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
yeah,
can't wait to put that out.
I know.
Kevin, what are you thinking? You're nodding. I see you. I think it feels like you're connected as well with Lucia and
Oh
her.
yeah, I'm 100% connected with that. I'm actually writing a song right now. It's kind of like that. It's really funny that you said that, Lucia, because like I'm battling with that right now because I'm trying to like always stay humble with myself and it's not necessarily a hard thing, but it is at the same time because like I have my flaws and I know I do. I got the human side of me and then I got the side of me that's like, Trevin, you're good enough. You can do this. Like it's a huge thing. And I do believe that like I would 100% connect with that. Like even like I can't wait to hear the song, Lucia, because like I remember sharing originals with you, and I just connected with all your originals that you showed me, and the ones in the book, like that little exercise you showed me. Also, thank you for that. That's helped me a lot in my songwriting. But yeah, that would definitely connect me with you for sure.
I love it. I think every human connects with it. Like
Mhm.
we all have criticisms of ourselves, and we all also know deep down that we're special and we do deserve love. And yeah, no, it's
Isn't it? What a strange, what two conflicting human traits, feelings that we have. The ones I love myself, I hate myself, and it could trigger both those thoughts simultaneously, battling
Mhm.
against yourself. Like, what is
yeah.
up with that? Like, why do we have that, and why? And it's such a universe. I mean, it's everybody goes through that
Oh, yeah.
from minute to minute, probably throughout their day. So, talk about a song that would connect with a large audience. I can't wait for you to put that out. I like that subject. I like that answer. Tell me about your relationship with Brandy Carlisle. From Brandy Carlisle before you knew her, Brandy Carlisle after you met her. What you thought of her before? What's that relationship? How has that changed?
Oh my goodness. I was listening to Brandy Carlisle when I was like 3, 4, something like that. Um, she lives in my hometown area, Maple Valley, like uh, a couple little towns over, super, super small towns like Black Diamond and stuff like that. But um, yeah, my parents played a lot of music growing up, and she was one that really was like a current constant musician that they were playing in the car. I think one of her first songs came out when Starbucks had those like CDs of a couple
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and so we would listen to those,
The
and
counters.
yeah, it just got hooked onto her. Um, I remember seeing her in Seattle, forgot which theater, maybe the Paramount or something, and watching her sing. And I remember running into her at the airport when my brother was going to Australia, and I got to meet her, and I was just fangirling so much. And this is, growing up when you don't really know like the hardships of life.
Right, right.
At
That's
least
why I
I,
did. That's why I wanted you to answer it that way. Because like, what was it like before, and
yeah,
now where you're at, now where you sit, and you know
because
more.
it's, like I definitely was always a feeler, but I didn't really have a difficult life, and I am very grateful for that. Um, and
Good job,
so
parent.
yeah, my parents are really wonderful, and but I loved the way that how she story tells in her songs, not just with her words, but with the way that she uses her voice, how she emulates certain things and does a yelp and does some vocal fries, and it really inspired me. So I would always sing with her in the car. Um, and like I always wanted to be able to sing with her one day. And then it came to be, I was in a guitar class in high school, and my principal was like, "Hey, do you know Brandy Carlisle? Do you like her?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I do." And he's like, "Hey, you're pretty good. Do you want to help her? She's coming here like next week or whatever, and she's
Wow,
gonna, set up for tour and like use our auditorium to practice because we got like a new stand
wow.
auditorium." And I was like, I'd love to help. And so, I was there, and I got to wrap some cables and cords, and just kind of see how they're like setting up the process, putting together all the amps and stuff like that. And I got to meet the twins, Tim and Phil Hanseroth. They're like her guitar and bass and backup vocals. And I was singing, and I asked Tim, I was like, oh, can I like play a song with you? And so he played guitar, I sang with him, and Brandy Carlisle was out in the audience and no one was there. And she was like, yeah, you're pretty good. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Did you know she was out there in the audience?
I did. I
You
did.
did? Okay, that's got to be nerve-wracking.
I know, but my dad had always told me if you don't ask, nothing's gonna
Yeah,
happen. So I was like,
great
"You
lesson,
can
Dad.
ask for something small." And I got a photo with her, um and then I found out, she was gonna set up for tour, but she was going to do a small like benefit concert at our school because her own daughter goes to the same school district that I went to. And so she was, putting together a benefit concert to go towards the school district. And so she personally asked my principal, does Lucia want to sing a song with me? She's really great. And I was like, oh, no way. So I got to sing with her, and my dad was like, you should ask if you can sing an original on stage by yourself. And I was like, he's like, you never know if you don't ask. The worst thing that can happen is she says no. And I was like, okay. So I asked her and she's like, I'll see if I can move around things. And then she's like, okay, let's do it. So I got to play her guitar, and she was like on the side stage with her daughter in her arms, and I was singing an original, and there's like
What
six
did you sing?
there. I sang an original called Free, and it's not out or anything, but you can find it on YouTube. And I just was like, this is my moment. And so I just loved it. She was so kind. And afterwards, our relationship now, I honestly haven't really spoken to her since, and I was 16. But I would love to collaborate with her or sit down with her for coffee or something. That would be really great. But she still is an inspiration, and I just love how she lives life. Like
Yeah.
she's this famous person, but lives in a house in my hometown and enjoys the woods and has a family, and then goes and does this stuff and this stuff. And it's just such a cool life that she lives.
Yeah, she does. Did it give you confidence, that experience, for what you're doing now on The Voice? Is there any relation? Did it help you, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, to have your idol ask for you to sing with her and say, wow, you're great. Keep on going. You have a really unique voice that you're doesn't sound like you're trying to sound like anyone on the radio, and like keep on going. And yeah, of course it did. And it just if someone like her can get big and famous, maybe I could too.
And believed in you and saw your talent and, you know, put, I mean, if she gave you your own spot to do your own original, that's pretty big on a, for a star like her to say, okay, take up some of my stage time. You're that good. That's amazing. Congratulations on that as well. And all
Yeah.
of your success. Do you believe in those? I don't even know what they're called, but like dream boards people talk about. They put up pictures out of magazines and they go, this is where I want to go. Or
Oh yeah.
this is what I hope to happen. Image board or dream board. I don't know what they're called.
Right.
What do you dream about? What's on yours if you had, even if you don't have one? What are you
Right.
dreaming about right now? What's next? And then I
Well,
want to talk about The Voice.
yeah. No, I do have them. I don't want to give away too much because
Okay. Yeah, I just realized that's kind of a personal question. I don't know.
I've heard that if you show someone, you have
Then
to be
it does.
very careful because people can place the evil eye on you and try to prevent it. Anyways, but
Well, it's also better to, I believe in this. I don't know if you guys do, but just do it. Because if you talk about it, for some reason, it just dissipates and doesn't ever seem to work out. Just go do it and then say, yeah, I meant to do that.
right.
I don't know. It's probably the same kind of logic as you say it out loud and somebody can take it from you or put something out on you. Well, so life before The Voice was still pretty exciting. You were accomplishing some great things young, but tell me, kind of give me an idea of like how you found, did you apply through the casting that I gave out earlier? Did someone find you on your Instagram or find you somewhere and reach out to you? which I've heard a lot from a lot of artists, that The Voice is searching for talent and they find you. How did that happen for you?
Yeah. Well, I tried when I was 15. I flew out to Salt Lake City, Utah to do the in-person, auditions, and you know that that did not go anywhere, but I just tried and I had fun with my mom. And then I my mom said like a year and a half ago or 2 years or something, like, "Oh, you should like try again." And so I went online and I did the casting like online, and they're like, "Oh, we regret to inform you that, it's not going to work out." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And then I was told by psychic, um like in the summer, that they had the spirit guides that kept on coming up to her, which I personally know her, so I think she was a freak or anything, but was saying like, they keep on telling me to tell you to do the audition. And I was like, "What audition?" She's like, "I don't know what it means, but do the audition." I'm like, "Okay." So I tried again, um, but didn't hear anything. And then I got a DM from someone and was like, "Hey, we cast for The Voice. We would love to da 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 da." And I thought it was a scam. And I was like, "Nah, I'm not." And I got it again. I was like, I just nah. And then I got emailed. I was like, "Okay, this looks a little
You're
more."
saying no because you thought it was a scam?
Yeah, yeah,
You just didn't believe it. It's too good to be true.
yeah. And so then I got the email and they said, "Hey, like we saw you on social media." I was like, okay, I was a little skeptical and got hopped on a phone call, and then that's how the process started. And I think also everything happens for a reason. So like the timing is when it was supposed to happen. Yeah.
And without giving anything away in the future, just what's your experience right now? How are you feeling? How did you feel on that stage? Was it just like, wow, this is it's the largest stage in the world and you're on it.
Yeah. Um, it feels like, when you work so hard and you always want like the world to understand you or finally see you, it feels like, oh my goodness, it's actually coming to life. It's actually becoming my reality. Because I think a lot of artists, like when they were little, they like dreamed and they were like, "I know I'm meant to be doing this," right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you can probably agree, like you're meant to be doing it. But then it's just a matter of like, does the world agree with that? And it's really crazy to have four people that have their whole lives surrounded by music in this industry, and having people appreciate their music, having them tell you you are good enough and you are so talented. And it's so eye-opening, like, it yourself, like that, the soul part, but the ego always comes in to be like, "Oh, nah, you're not that good enough," or but
Yeah.
it's almost like it's starting to tear down those walls of the ego constantly criticizing yourself, and starting to reveal like, no, I am special and I do deserve to believe that I am good enough, and that what I do impacts some people, maybe not everyone. Um, so it's just been such a lovely opportunity, and I'm just excited to see what's next.
Yeah, we're excited to see what's next for you as well. So it's almost like that song that you wrote in the beginning where you love yourself, you hate yourself, and you got that self-doubt. Are you feeling that self-doubt get longer? The time that you go to the doubt in your mind and you let your mind go there. Are you finding that time is getting longer and longer apart from the part of you that says, I can do this. I'm on The Voice. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no bigger validation than that, as you said, with the artists, the coaches. Um, okay, so again, you are on the biggest stage in the world on The Voice, and you have a chance to speak to your fans and to make new ones. What do you say to them? What do you want them to know most about who you are as an artist and where you're going? What do you want them to know?
Right. I would want to show who I am as authentically as I can. And that means a lot of different aspects. That means like the happy Lucia, the dressed up Lucia, the no makeup Lucia. Um, I think I always think I want as many people to like me, and I'm learning that that's not what matters. It's, whoever's going to become a fan or follow me is meant to follow me. Like not everyone is going to like me. What I want to show to new possible fans or people that want to listen to my stuff is that I'm not going to sound the same way in every single song that I sing. And it's very intentional. I want to show my voice in different genres, in different types of music, in different styles of singing, because that's what humans are, is just complex. I'm not just this perfect person, or I'm not going to sing the same way that I did in La Llorona compared to another song. And I think that's what's beautiful. And I think oftentimes this industry is so focused on needing to brand something that always stays consistent. And I kind of want to break the barriers of disrupting what we make to reflect who we are as humans. And as humans, we are always ever growing. We're never the same. We're always going through different battles. And so my music is reflecting what it's like to be a human on this earth, what it's like to experience joy and pain, transitions, right? And so if you want to follow me in my music, don't expect that you know everything of me, because I don't know everything of you. And my music hopefully will connect with you, because it's all about just being a human, right? Like not just perfect love songs, not just, oh, I'm so happy, ha ha ha, but just so many different,
Transitions,
yeah, yeah,
which is a perfect way to set up. We're going to play your new single, Transitions, in its entirety right now when we go to break. What a beautiful conversation with you. Thank you, Lucia. I hope you stick around with Trevin Dawson's coming up next. I hope you hang out with us, and I'd love to have you guys talk about your experience on The Voice. Go to Lucia Flores-Wiseman.com. I'm going to spell it Lucia Flores, Flores, Wiseman, Wiseman.com. And you can keep up with Lucia, her music. All her socials are there. Real quick, click, and you can hit her and follow her on all of her socials. You can also go to Instagram if you like, Lucia Flores Wiseman. And that's where you can find her. NBC's The Voice season 27. You're on Team Adam. My last question before the break. And then I'd like you to tell us about transitions, if you could set it up for us. Adam Levine, why did you, four chairs turn? Tell me about your decision, if you could.
yeah. I didn't know. I thought I was gonna choose Michael Bublé or John Legend, but Adam really changed my mind, because he showed me he understood the complexities of my voice and how I disrupt what it means to be a good singer, right? And that's why I chose him, and it's been the best decision. Just because he's so down to earth and so
Yeah.
real, and I feel like I'm seen. So
And I'm going to play his comments right now.
yeah, please do.
Okay. Those are great comments. Amazing. It must just really, really make you like I don't know what, float away almost, want to float away from that stage when you hear Adam Levine talking about you like that and your talent.
It's a dream. It's a dream. I couldn't think of anything better that he could say. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, well, gosh, well deserved, and congratulations. We can't wait again to see where you go and what happens, and follow your career forever. You're just, I hope you continue to put out great music, and I'm sure you will, and pick up that sax one of these days.
All right.
Put
Yeah.
that in.
Oh, thank
So
you
tell
so
us
much.
about transitions, then we'll take a quick break.
Yeah. Transitions is just about being a human, always going through different periods of life. I wrote it when I was moving into this house with my boyfriend, Steven, and just how anxiety comes in at different points in your life of, oh, is this going to be right? Is this going to be right? Am I doing the right thing? And just realizing that you always have someone, whether it be yourself or a partner or a family member or someone who's already passed, that they're always going to be there with you every step of the way. So it's the transitions are going to be okay. So yeah, that's what the song's about.
Okay. NBC's four-time Emmy Award-winning musical competition series, The Voice is Back, season 27. Lucia Flores-Wiseman is on the show today. And coming up right after the break, don't go anywhere, Trevin Dawson. He's also on Team Adam. He'll be joining us for the conversation. And if you think you have what it takes and you've got a great voice and you want to be in the music business, there's no better show than The Voice. Go to casting at NBCTheVoice.com. And here it is, Lucia Flores-Wiseman, Transitions. We'll be right back.